I wasn't really interested in any of the other fights with Jake Paul, but this one is honestly kind of intriguing. In no way do I want Jake to win, but that being said, he also feeds off that kind of negativity, so it's not very smart for me to like put that attention out to him. I really hope Tyron Woodley beats him. But that being said though, I really think Jake is gonna take this one. I am not a boxing expert, but I do watch a lot of MMA fights. And Tyron Woodley is an absolute beast. I don't care if he's in a downward trend. I don't care how retired he is. In an MMA fight, you would absolutely pummel him slowly. I don't care about the height difference. I don't care about the weight difference. However, in boxing, fairly certain to me that Jake should win on paper. I don't know how he could possibly be an underdog in anyone's eye. It says here that Woodley is the underdog at plus 160, which is actually pretty smart. Anything could happen in a fight. But if I'm looking at the stats, Paul is 6'1" and almost 190 pounds. Woodley is 5'9" and 170. Now, height isn't everything in fighting, but for boxing, if you're gonna have that much of a height difference, you better be like Mike Tyson. I don't think Woodley's technique has ever been even close to that level. Not to mention the sparring footage that's come out of the camp from Jake Paul. It looks pretty crisp. It looks pretty nice. If you could execute those type of combos on the canvas or on the ring, sorry. It looks fast, it looks sharp, he looks like he's playing his defense well. He looks very athletic. The only thing is, can he pull it off? And that all comes down to how well he can handle pressure. Looking at the very problematic and erratic behavior from Jake Paul, I don't think he's ever been afraid of things like pressure. I think he's going to be able to execute his technique pretty well. And honestly, I'll be surprised if it doesn't actually end by second round. Jake Paul has the height advantage. He has a weight advantage. Jake Paul also obviously has a youth advantage at age 24 years old. On the other hand, Tyron Woodley is almost 39 years old. That makes a huge difference in how much you can train and how much you can maintain your stamina. And for whatever reason, from the footage that's coming out, Jake Paul just looks way more motivated and passionate about boxing. Tyron Woodley just seems to not care that much. Even with all these press conference antics, it just seems like he's laid back almost. That being said though, Woodley does have some advantages. He's obviously very experienced and very athletic. He also has a really good overhand, which is kind of helpful in a bigger opponent. There's no question that Woodley is significantly better than Ben Askren, and the only thing that Jake has ever proven is against Ben Askren, who is not even a striker. No hate Ben Askren, you shouldn't have taken that fight. But arguably the biggest advantage that Jake has is something deemed the winning effect. This is actually pretty well studied phenomenon in neuroscience, but animals that are winning fights often have a dopamine release right away. That also increases testosterone. And for whatever reason, a streak of winning helps maintain that testosterone much better than a streak of losing. And you can see this effect almost immediately after the fight. Jake is coming off multiple wins while Tyron Woodley is coming off major losses. And that has a direct effect on how you approach the game. Now, not everyone is going to fall victim to this, but it takes a lot more willpower for the person with a losing streak to have that motivation and that drive. That's because on a physiological level, there's literally less testosterone in people that lose. So Jake has a huge advantage. A win like this would mean a lot for Jake. It builds his momentum. It makes him look more legit. Honestly, I would not be surprised if there's actually a Conor fight in the future that would also sell a lot. I mean, I'm just comparing some of these footage, and the difference between Jake Paul last year and Jake Paul now is pretty strong. Pretty big gap. That tells me that he's really, really disciplining himself and really committing to this role fully. He is at least somewhat legit. Now, I really hope you win, Tyron Woodley, and best of luck to you. But if I'm looking at it objectively, it just seems like Jake is gonna win. I hope I'm wrong, but if I'm not, then oh well. Also, I will say though, like, there is this effect that people have when they're winning, that we just start looking past all their bad behavior. Though when I look at a Jake YouTube video right now, there's like mostly dislikes. I'm willing to bet that will change eventually because people are willing to forgive when people start winning. That being said though, even if you lose, Tyron, I want to say that I still have a lot of respect for you, even though you took away a win from one of my favorite fighters, Stephen Thompson. I also hope a lot of good comes out of this with Jake winning or whatever. I hope it opens the door for future fighters to make more money through YouTube, because fighters are historically very underpaid, and Jake has been talking about that, which is very surprising to me. And they deserve to be paid more, considering they sacrifice their health permanently. So I hope that does change.